On October 3, 1849, a man was found near a tavern in Baltimore, half conscious, delirious, wearing cheap clothes that didn't fit him. He couldn't explain who he was or what had happened to him. It was Edgar Allan Poe, a writer of detective stories. He died 4 days later, without saying anything coherent. What happened to him? At the end of September 1849, Edgar Poe was in Richmond. Things were going well. Editorial work, new projects, plans for the future. He had also reconnected with Sarah Elmira Royster Shelton, his first love, from whom he had been separated in his youth. They were planning to marry. On September 27th, he boarded a steamboat to New York, but he never arrived. The man disappeared and then reappeared in Baltimore, hundreds of miles off his route, wearing someone else's clothes, unconscious. Near Ryan's Tavern, which that day also served as a polling station. A crowd had gathered. It was election day. Among the crowd, someone noticed a man who was delirious, speaking incoherently, barely responding to questions. The clothes he wore were old, ill, and completely unlike his usual style. Poe was always neat, even elegant. Someone recognized the writer. Help was called, and he was taken to Washington College Hospital. He spent 4 days there. Doctors did what they could, but Poe was mostly unconscious. When he came to, he spoke strangely, talking to someone invisible, shouting, sweating, slipping in and out of delirium. One detail stood out in his delirium. Poe repeatedly said one name, Reynolds. Who Reynolds was, no one knew. No one knows to this day. On October 7, 1849, Edgar Allan Poe died. The official cause of death was never established. Even the documents disappeared. Medical records and the death certificate were lost. All that remains are the memories of those who were there. The man who invented detective fiction died without leaving a single clue. But there are several theories. Theory 1. Simplest explanation: Poe drank. He had struggled with alcohol for years. There is some support for this. He was found in a state resembling intoxication, and his reputation for drinking was well known. But things don't quite add up. Shortly before his death, Poe had joined a temperance society. The doctor who examined him noted no clear signs of recent alcohol use. Alcohol may explain his condition, but not the strange clothes, not the 6 missing days, not Baltimore instead of New York. Theory 2. Election fraud cooping. This is the most compelling theory. In 19th century America, there was a practice called cooping. Gangs hired by political groups would kidnap random people before elections, intoxicate or drug them, dress them in different clothes, and force them to vote multiple times under different identities. Afterward, the victims were abandoned. Now look at the coincidences. Poe was found on election day, near a polling station, in different clothes, in a state of total disorientation. This explains everything. There is no direct proof, but there is also nothing that clearly contradicts this theory. Theory 3. Illness over the years. Doctors have suggested many diagnoses: epilepsy, diabetes, heart disease, tuberculosis, brain infection. But one of the most discussed is rabies. It sounds extreme, but the symptoms match disturbingly well: confusion, hallucinations, sudden changes in condition, difficulty drinking water. However, without medical records, it cannot be confirmed. Theory 4. Violence. Another theory. Poe was robbed and beaten. His clothes were taken, and he was left to die. This explains the clothing and his condition, but not why he was found near a polling station. There are also theories about poisoning, but they have even less evidence. Why this will never be solved. Poe's case is a perfect unsolved mystery, not because the investigation failed, but because there are no clues left. Medical records lost. Death certificate lost. Witnesses gone. The man who wrote stories where mysteries are solved left behind one that never will be.